a question then, because the Strip is obviously more expensive. Downtown is a little bit cheaper, and it seems to be becoming a little bit more personalized and nuanced. I had Jonathan Jossel on here, and they're looking into all kinds of different things. You know, they have like a real nice gym in there. They have pickleball, bingo tournaments, a bunch of different things that the Strip doesn't offer. Do you think that the next wave of Vegas maybe transitions more to the downtown area?
I think their numbers prove that that's already happened. Full disclosure, I worked at Fremont Street Experience for 6 years. I left in May to do Vital Vegas full time, but it was very obvious that the Strip was alienating a lot of folks. You can't find a great nightclub downtown. So if that's your vibe, if you want to, well, now it's a little bit different with the night with the pool complex at Circa, but for the most part, it hasn't been a pool culture. It hasn't been a nightclub culture. It hasn't really been an entertainment culture. So there's things that downtown can't do, but the things that I love, gambling, drinking, and eating, if those are your things, downtown, that pivot has already happened. And that's why Derek Stevens and Greg Stevens built Circa, because I was in those meetings where they were talking about we have more demand than capacity. And that's been true for, I think, most of the time that I've been downtown. I was pivotal to the growth of and success of downtown. But I think that value-seeking thing that I was talking about, downtown was already ahead of the game on that. The Strip would do well. They can't match the prices, but downtown is very good at making sure you know you're getting a value. And that literally to the point where for a while we were just putting up a price. We were putting up a price of a cocktail on the Strip and the price of the same cocktail downtown, and it was half. Sometimes it was a third. So that was just based on price point. But if you get into the world of where do you feel most comfortable, I've never been to the Strip where the bartender has known my name. Because it's just so big. There's hundreds of bars and hundreds of, thousands of customers that they interact with. Downtown at every bar, every bartender knows my name. And
do you think that's also because you're Vital Vegas too?
I think a lot of them just know me from, I drink there and I sit at that bar, and they're not dealing with the quantity of people that they are on the Strip. So I wouldn't even know how to train a bartender on the Strip to be able to go. I mean, a lot of people have that relationship with bartenders on the Strip, but in my world, I've been to certain bars far more on the Strip than I have downtown, and they don't recognize me as an individual. They're just, the companies are too big. So I think downtown has a lot going for it. The Fremont Street Experience, the video screen was revamped and launched on New Year's Eve. I think it's not quite as iconic as the Bellagio fountains, but it's right up there, especially after the renovation, because the visuals are just really dazzling.
Yeah, that's kind of the downtown face piece for them. Right.
And a lot of folks would never go down for that. They would never go downtown at all because the Omnia folks that you're talking about, I've talked to many people who go to the nightclubs. I don't do it myself, but I know those people. And your people have told me until probably even just the last year, I would never have gone downtown. It's grubby. It seems grimy. I'm dressed to the nines to go to frickin' a nightclub. I am not doing that downtown. I'm not walking Fremont Street in my club wear. Mm-hmm. And that's probably a good decision to make. But, especially with Circa, now you're starting to bridge the gap between the two, and you're getting a little more of an elevated experience, and you're still getting value with the prices. But I think downtown, people ask me like, what's better? And I don't think there's a what's better. I think they're just two very different experiences. But I think if you like the kind of Vegas where you feel like you're valued and you're going to get more perks and comps, and they're going to appreciate your play. And if you don't like having to walk a mile between hotels, like I think downtown has that focus. There's looser machines in town. If you go to Boulder Highway, the machines are looser. A lot of these local places, better machines, but I don't think that's really it. I think it's all about how people feel. during their visit. And it's that idea that I use of kind of like, what's your first impression of a casino if you've never been there? When you drive up and there's a parking ticket coming at you, that's a problem. And that parking ticket, not that kind of parking ticket, the other kind of ticket coming out of the kiosk for paid parking. And then when you leave, that's your last impression. So you're being sandwiched with bullshit. And the Strip is famous for that. I'm not saying it's different downtown because they got the same thing, but it's how you feel as you're welcome to the casino. It's how you, if you're feeling like you're just one of a million people inside a casino, it's a very different experience. And people on the Strip, they carve out, meeting my friend here, we're going to do this and this. So you can customize your own experience. But downtown, you know what you're in for. Mm-hmm. You better play blackjack or craps. You better like slots. You better like liquor. And you better like a rowdy party environment because that's what downtown is.
Downtown, definitely, there's more of a mix of the culture down there. And I always used to make jokes of when life is beautiful is downtown. And then if you go out afterwards, you have the festival crowd. And then you have kind of like the upper class people. And then you have the street performers and the regular downtown. It's like this is an experience you won't get anywhere else across the country.
It's true. And it's not 100% beloved.
But it's so much fun, though. It's like...
there's homeless, there's vagrancy. Like, they still haven't really cleaned up their act on that. It's safe, but there are people that, they're a corporate... Speaking of conventions and corporate clients, that's a challenge because you get a Microsoft down there or an Adobe or one of these big, kind of huge companies. We want to come down and buy out the street. $1 million. So they do a tour. They do a walk through. They're like, no, we're going wherever else we're going. We're going to Orlando or we're going to the Caesars Convention Center, whatever it is. So it's not, I always say it really is conditional on the experience that you want. I know when I go down there, that's my go-to place because I know the experience I'm going to have. I know the bartenders that are going to give you a long pour. They don't do long pours on the Strip. I'm sorry, that's two different experiences.
Yeah, you're trained. You're definitely trained for it at any bar, nightclub, pool.
Yep,
all that.
1.25 ounces or whatever it is, and it's going to be rough to get a comp drink on the Strip now because they've trimmed the staff so much, and you're not going to get the liquor you asked for, which bugs me because all I want is just Captain Morgan, and they're giving me Admiral Nelson or some kind of other funky liquor. But downtown there's guaranteed fun.
Yeah, it seems like as you point out, there's a lot of small, personalized, like subtle messages that are kind of just placed all throughout downtown. I didn't even think of like just an extended pour would make you feel more at home and like more connected to that server that's across from you.
And it gives that bartender the ability to do what they're there to do, customer service. Because if you take that away from them, now they've got banter, but they can't do anything else for you. And if you've got this red light, green light on the back of your video poker machine, they don't have the discretion to say, here's another cocktail. It's your light is red. Like that's an experience that people freak out about for good reason. You're a bartender. You just told me no because the light on the back of my machine is red. When would that have happened back in the mob days? That's why people long for those days. Is like you knew a guy, he'd get you a drink. It's not about have I spent my $12 of anticipated losses so that it will justify a 4-cent drink that that's what's changed in Vegas and that's what needs to change back.
Yeah,
because.
I think the pitfall with the Strip is that it's become corporatized and two corporations, Caesars and MGM, owns 75-80% of it. And their bottom line is the dollar because they have to appease the stockholders. And whereas downtown, the majority of them are individually owned. I know Derek owns Golden Nugget and Golden Gate as well.
Or Golden Gate and the D.
And the D, yeah. But he's a little bit more personal. And something that I've noticed as well, and I spoke with this actually with Jonathan as well, is a lot of the downtown leadership, they're more engaging within the community and podcasters. And media personalities, whereas the Strip, you kind of get shoot off. And I think you experienced this recently with your Sahara lawsuit as well.
Shoot off is a great way of saying sued. But, and you got somebody like Derek, like he put a plaque by his bar thanking online communities for their support. Like, if you ever suggested that Caesars Entertainment or MGM Resorts would do that, or even recognize that there are online communities at all, like it's a much different sensibility. And even Boyd Gaming is probably the most conservative downtown. They still kind of understand it. They don't do a great job at it, but they at least get that things are changing. And they like Jonathan at the Plaza, or maybe not so much the Golden Nugget either, but certainly Binion's, they're more active on social now, and Four Queens, they're active in social. And certainly all the folks on Fremont East, like in the non-casino world, much more adept at engaging with the community. And to their credit, it's a manageable
area
entity, right? It's not the sprawling kind of, tens of thousands of employees, competing companies. Downtown at Fremont Street Experience, these casinos sit on a collection of whatever you call it, a collective of marketing downtown. Like they work together. The Strip has it with the LVCVA, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. But downtown, these folks, competitors, are sitting in a room going, how do we get more entertainment on this street? How do we get, do we do a concert series? How are we going to just improve downtown overall and visitation overall? I don't think that's a meeting that's being had